Hello everyone, this is Highlander from MTG Cardsmith doing another custom Magic the Gathering card review, and today we are reviewing Coiling Serpent. I really want to say Stone Coil Serpent when I read this, but it's Stone Coil Serpent, except he's not a stone. He's just a serpent, a coiling serpent. Cool art. What's he coiling around there? Is that like a centipede? What is that? What's happening in this art? I don't quite. What's this exactly? What's going on here? I mean, it looks like maybe like a little bug or something. And what's all of this? Is this water or is this like steam? This thing looks like it's blowing steam out or something. I'm not 100% sure what's going on here. It looks like maybe it's water. At least this part looks like water. Anyway. Okay, so this is by Suleman. This is another 5-color card here. So let's see what we got going on. This is a Serpent creature. It's a 1/1. Flash Lifelink. When Coiling Serpent enters the battlefield, you may tap it. Okay. When you do, tap target creature you don't control. As long as Coiling Serpent and that creature both remain tapped this way, they don't untap during their controller's untap steps. At the beginning of your upkeep, put a +1/+1 counter on Coiling Serpent. Then it deals damage equal to its power to that creature. Okay, I get it. It's constricting something, right? That's the idea. Excuse me, get a drink of my tea here. A couple more sips. Good old tea. Okay, so this is kind of neat. I like what you're going for here. It constricts something. Eventually it kills it. And I guess it's eating it, so it's getting bigger. Yeah, I mean, this is a pretty neat card. Okay, I have a couple things to. Oh no, how embarrassing! I keep doing that. I have a couple things to say about this card before we get into the ratings here. So first of all, I ran into this recently. I like you thought that Flash would just end up in a list of keywords like this, but in fact, if you look on Scryfall, my favorite website, Flash always ends up on it. Oh, I search name. How embarrassing. Flash always shows up like on its own line for some reason. Flash Death Touch. Yeah, you can see Flash always ends up on its own line for some reason. I don't know why that is. It just does. Okay, so when you do okay, so again, the wording on this one is a little confusing. Let me see if I can try to reword this in a way that makes it a little bit less confusing. I may fail, I may succeed. Let's see. So let's do this. So Flash, Lifelink, excuse me. You may choose not to untap Coiling Serpent on your. You may choose not to untap Coiling on Serpent during your untap step. Is that the right wording for that? I gotta look up my good old buddy Rustic. Y'all remember Rustic from Scars of Mirrodin? By the way, little tidbit for you guys. Scars of Mirrodin was my first Magic set. That's the first set I've ever played. So I have sort of a fond memories of it, even though it may not be the best set, but I have fond memories. So anyway, you choose not to untap Rustic during your untap step. What did I write? Yes, I got it right. Look at that. I'm the best. Okay, so there's that. And then when Coiling Serpent enters the battlefield, you may tap it. If you do, tap target creature an opponent controls. As long as both of those creatures remain tapped. As long as both creatures remain tapped. Can I say that? I feel like that works, right? As long as both creatures remain tapped. As long as both creatures remain tapped. It's so awkward, doesn't it? Yeah, this is a little awkward. At the beginning of the round, let's see. Okay, if you do tap target creature an opponent controls, it doesn't untap during its controller's untap step for as long as Coiling Serpent remains tapped. At the beginning of your upkeep, Coiling Serpent deals damage equal to its power to... oh boy. This is a tricky one, huh? When Coiling Serpent enters the battlefield, you may tap it. When you do, tap target creature you don't control, as long as Coiling Serpent and that creature both remain tapped this way. They don't untap during their controller's untap steps. At the beginning of your upkeep, put a +1/+1 counter on Coiling Serpent, then it deals damage equal to its power to that creature. Huh. This is a tricky one. Okay, let me try something a little different here. So, let's do this. One. Or how about tap is better. Okay, so tap Coiling Serpent, right? Tap target creature. It doesn't untap on its controller's untap step for as long as Coiling Serpent remains tapped. And then, okay, how do we do this? How do we do this damage thing? Like, how do we reference that creature? I mean, at the beginning of your upkeep, put a +1/+1 counter on Coiling Serpent. It deals damage equal to its power to it doesn't tap on its controller's untap set for as long as Coiling Serpent remains tapped. It deals damage equal to... This is a tricky one, man. I gotta say, like, I don't think the way you've worded it is actually correct. Correct me if I'm wrong, guys, but I think maybe this is okay. Where my issue is like, okay, so you're basically like, okay, you tap target creature you don't control. As long as Coiling Serpent and that creature both remain tapped this way, they don't untap during their control. So tap steps at the beginning of your upkeep, put a +1/+1 counter on Coiling Serpent. Then it deals damage equal to its power to that creature. So this makes sense to me, but I don't know if this is correct rules wise. So I'm gonna have to call in good old Jadefire here. Jadefire, let me know if this wording works out, because I'm actually not sure. And feel free to offer suggestions on how to reword this one, if it doesn't. So, anyway, it's a little complex, but I think the flavor really carries this one, right? Like, okay, imagine this card was just called, like Mud Golem or something, and it, like, did this. You'd be like, what? What does this card do? But because it's a Coiling Serpent, you're like, oh, I get it. It squeezes the thing, It squeezes it. So that's cool. I like that. I think the flavor really carries this one, and I failed to reword it. Okay, so let's go through our scoring. Presentation. Okay, so we mentioned the issue with Flash, but besides that, this card has perfect presentation, so I'm going to give you a 9. It's actually 9 or 8. 9 or 8. All right. I'm feeling generous. We'll give you a 9. Balance. How balanced is this card? Well, basically, actually, you know what? I'm just gonna go ahead and slide gameplay up here. Because I think let's talk about gameplay first, and then balance should kind of come off of that. I feel like. Okay, so gameplay wise, you play this guy. You flash it in. You tap something. So it essentially locks something down, and eventually it kills it, and it grows. And then once that thing's dead, it is now big. So like the bigger the thing you get, the bigger the Coiling Serpent will get. You're also gaining life during all that period. That's pretty powerful. But it's slow, right? It's quite slow. And they have lots of opportunity to kill this thing to unlock their creature. I mean, this is, for example, if this was like, claustrophobia or something, right? I mean, they have various ways of unlocking their creature. They can bounce it, they can destroy the enchantment, they can, or they can just sacrifice it if they want to, right? This is like even more fragile because it's a 1/1 and it's a creature, so they can use removal on it. They can still bounce their creature. They can still sacrifice their creature. There's lots of ways they can kind of get around this guy. So there's plenty of counterplay involved. But if they don't, it's pretty strong, but it's slow. So, I'm feeling this one. I kind of like this one. Now you can't ever choose to untap the Coiling Serpent and like release the thing you've coiled and coil something else. And once you're done coiling, you're done coiling, right? So you kind of want to coil the biggest thing. It's kind of a risk reward here, right? Because you kind of want to coil like their biggest thing, right? Because not only does it take their biggest thing out of the battlefield, it also means that your guy's going to get swole. But it also gives them the most opportunity to, uncoil their guy, basically, to counter what you're doing. Now, if you put this on like a medium-sized creature, then much bigger chance that you'll actually kill the thing. You're going to be gaining some life, and your guy's going to grow to like a reasonable size. Like, in order for this card to probably be worth playing, like you don't want to put this on like a 1/1, right? On something with 1, because then you're gonna end up with just a 2/2 lifelink for 3 that killed their 1/1, and like that's okay, but it's not really exciting. If you put this on a 2/2, you're gonna end up with the same thing, right? Yeah, because it gets a +1/+1 counter, then it deals the damage. So 2/2 is actually the same as a 1/1. A 3/3, you're gonna end up with a 3/3. And you'll have gained 5 life. So you'll have gained 5 life, killed their 3/3, and now you have a 3/3 lifelink Serpent. So that's pretty strong already on like a 3-drop, right? And the higher you go, the more payoff, but the more opportunity for them to release. So yeah, I think gameplay wise, this thing's actually really interesting. I like this card. So I'm going to give you... Yeah, I mean, I don't really see any issues with the gameplay, to be honest. I'll give you a 10. 10 for gameplay. All right, balance. So now that we've talked about it, how balanced is this card? Well, again, balance and gameplay are like fairly closely bound, it feels like, but not necessarily. So this card feels pretty balanced to me. Again, there's like a risk reward here, right? And I like it. I mean, it can kill anything, but like some things it'll take forever to kill it, right? If you're like coiling and like Ulamog or something, I mean, it's going to take you forever to kill that thing. But you're going to be gaining a bunch of life, and you're going to... Actually, wait, isn't it Ulamog indestructible, or am I thinking of a different one? Ulamog. Yeah, Ulamog's indestructible. Okay, so don't coil Ulamog, right? Although if you do coil Ulamog, you basically get... Like, you're just going to get so much life. I mean, of course, that's assuming this guy never dies, or Ulamog never leaves the battlefield, which is quite unlikely, but you're going to be gaining a bunch of life off this guy. But I think that's kind of fine. Again, so yeah, I mean, I think this card seems pretty balanced. Very like huge payoff if you ever hit Magical Christmas Land where you're like killing a 6/6 with this thing and you're gaining like a bazillion life, and you end up with a 6/6 Lifelink Serpent, and you've killed their thing. Lots and lots of value, but it's like pretty unlikely that will happen. So, but like even just the case of like killing a 3/3 is pretty good. You end up with a 3/3 Lifelink, and you've gained 5 life. Like that's good value already, and you've killed their 3/3, right? So, so yeah, I think this card's pretty balanced. I think the only thing that kind of concerns me is how much life you gain off of this. Excuse me. So, like, one thing you could potentially do is you could, like, flip the damage and the +1/+1 counter. Obviously, that makes it slower at killing things. But then you're gaining a little bit less life. So, I don't know. It's a bit of a trade-off. I think I'm going to give this one an 8 for balance. We'll give it a 9. So it's pretty balanced. I think the only thing that kind of concerns me, 8. The other thing that kind of concerns me is how much life you can potentially gain. I mean, again, when you're talking about killing this 3/3, you're already gaining 5 life. That's a lot. That's a lot of life gain for killing a 3/3 and getting a 3/3 flash lifelink, Serpent. Sorry, not flash, but anyway. Did I give you a 9 for presentation? Okay. All right, novelty. This card's actually pretty novel. I like this. Like, it's doing things, that it's. So okay, so it reminds me obviously of like a Dungeon Geist in a lot of ways, except in some ways it's quite different. Yeah, I've never really seen a card that quite works this way. So yeah, you get a nice novelty score. Excuse me, I'll give you an 8 for that. All right, color identity. This is where we've been struggling with these five color cards. So let's take a look. So. Excuse me. So we've got the flash and lifelink, which kind of account for the white, the blue. I guess you could say black maybe for the lifelink. Interesting that this is a base blue card. I guess blue like serpents. And you're tapping a thing down, right? So okay, so the blue thing works. The green works. We're getting +1/+1 counters, and we're dealing. We're biting the thing. The red, though, what's red about this card? What's red about this card? I guess the only thing you could kind of say is red is this last one here. This last piece. That's in red sometimes, occasionally, not very often. So the colors are kind of all accounted for, but the red's a little bit of a stretch. So I'm going to go with the 7 on that one. And flavor. Great flavor on this one. Great flavor. I mean, he likes it. Look, he's going to eat whatever this thing is. This gross looking thing. Yeah, really like the flavor on this guy. I think it's very cool. The lifelink's a little bit like odd, I guess. Like why? I mean, I get that he's eating the thing, so he's gaining life. That makes sense to me, but the fact that like he has lifelink afterwards is a little strange for a serpent, just like a standard serpent, right? This isn't you know, there's nothing special about this serpent other than he coils, you know what I mean? So the lifelink's cute because it interacts with this, but the fact that it, like, from a design standpoint, I don't mind that it's here, right? But from a flavor standpoint, it's a little strange. So I'll just kind of deduct a point from that. But otherwise, the flavor on this card is great. So yeah, this is a 9 out of 10 card. Very well done. Few issues that I mentioned, but I do really like this card. This is a very cool card. Very, very cool card. So yeah, well done, Suleman. And guys, please let me know how you feel about the new format. Do we like this, the way, you know, this sort of more structured scoring is, or would we prefer that I just sit here and blather on for 15 minutes or so? Let me know in the comments, guys. All right, thank you for watching.